Opening statements, and then we'll go ahead and open it up for questions. Coach?
Thank you, Steve. Good to see everybody. Certainly a great day here in Columbia, as it always is. Excited about the group of guys that we've been able to add to our program today. A lot of those guys that we're talking about are already here, which is fantastic. Small number of a signing class. We knew that going into it. When you look at our signing class numbers and rankings, yeah, it's small, it's low. That was on purpose. No one talks about, when you talk about the signing class and rankings and things like that, the guys that transferred in from other places that are fantastic football players that are going to help this team immediately. So we went into it, talked about it when I got here in December, that it was a signing class that was small back in December. That was intentional. Allowed us to jump into, as I hired this coaching staff, what exactly are our schemes going to be? What's the personnel that we need for those schemes? Who else is out there? Me learning about our current roster here at Carolina and what we needed, which allowed us then to go into the rest of December and all of January and really attack those position needs. And we certainly did that. We were selective with the guys that we brought into this program. It wasn't just looking at the transfer portal and saying, let's go get the 10 most talented guys or whatever that we could. They had to fit the environment and the culture that we're trying to bring in here. Feel like we have, or they do. Proud of our evaluations. There's a lot of guys here that we're talking about that we offered scholarships to that at the time didn't have a lot of offers, and it's amazing all of a sudden South Carolina offers them a scholarship, and then there's some other programs that all of a sudden see these guys and figure out they're good enough to be SEC football players. So we're proud of that as well. The evaluation really worked hard over the last couple months to dive into just tons of video, high school prospects, junior college prospects, potential transfers, and finding guys that are fits for us. Got into 9 different states, I believe, when you talk about the signees plus some of the transfers that we've added, opening up some new areas for us potentially from a recruiting standpoint long term too, which I think will be beneficial for us. I know it will be. When you have a university and athletic program like this, you can sell that anywhere. And then with our scholarship situation, we've still got the flexibility to add some pieces and people to the equation going forward if we need to. Obviously, spring practice is going to be big for us to see where we are as a program. Our personnel, that's in the building right now and what we may need and have to go attack here going forward in recruiting, and then immediately with some potential guys to add to the roster this upcoming season as well. Hard at work on the class of 2022s. Every single night we are doing virtual visits with high school prospects. We had, I think, 4 last night and 3 tonight that we have scheduled with, awesome prospects that not the class of 2021, the guys that just signed today, but the guys that are juniors that we're recruiting for next year. We're hard at work on that and really pumped and excited about what we've been able to do in a short period of time since I got here in December. I can't wait to see what we're going to be able to do over the next year as we put together this 2022 signing class and all that those guys are going to be able to accomplish and how we continue to build this thing going forward as well. But really pleased with where we are. We can go through. I'll let you guys ask questions. I'm not going to go through each and every guy. We've talked about some of them here in the past, but I'll be glad to open up questions for you guys now and get to as many of them as we can as we talk about this signing class.
David Cloninger with the first one.
Hey, Shane, thanks for doing this. You mentioned how nobody really mentions how the transfers figure into this class and its ratings. So, just kind of playing devil's advocate, where do you think this class will be ranked if all the transfer guys' ratings were included in it?
I think pretty high. I don't know about the rankings, but I look at the video and I'm like, man, you watch these guys as you're evaluating them and you're deciding whether or not you're going to recruit them. You watch their video, but I went back and just watched all of the video together of all of those guys today. And it's impressive, the group that we've put together. And every coach stands up here on signing day and talks about, well, we filled our needs, we attacked our needs. And I really feel like we did. I knew coming in here that some immediate needs for us from a depth standpoint was we're wide receiver, linebacker, defensive back, and we attack that. But when you talk about being able to, add a transfer quarterback that was an honorable mention All-American preseason All-Conference player, we added a wide receiver that scored 13 touchdowns last season, added another wide receiver that was his team's leading wide receiver at Georgia Tech in 2019 and tied some of Calvin Johnson's receiving records, a defensive back that has experience at a high-level program like Georgia Southern, an edge rusher in Jordan Strawn that led the nation in sacks, not his conference, not the team, not the university, the nation in sacks. Being able to add a defensive lineman in Jakeem Green that has played at a high level at Nebraska, that's a big body on the inside, and then Debo Williams at linebacker that was the player of the year in the state of Delaware coming out of high school. So when you put those guys together, it's an impressive group. So what those rankings may have come out to be, don't know. I know it would be higher than what it is right now, and all that matters to me is these guys are solid people that are hungry and excited to be at Carolina and can't wait to see what we're going to be able to accomplish together.
Reggie Anderson.
Hey, Shane, your previous head coach at Oklahoma had a pretty good track record with walk-ons, just your philosophy, and you look at the preferred walk-ons you have coming in there. Anybody who follows high school football in this area, that's a who's who.
For sure, it always will be. I was a walk-on. I mean, those guys are partial to me. And to me, when you've got some roster issues, you've had some attrition, one of the greatest ways to build that back up when you don't have scholarships or the amount that you like would be that walk-on program. And I've been some programs where it was just kind of like whoever showed up and tried out, you might keep a couple, and that was the walk-on program. I mean, we have been active about trying to find guys and sell them what a fantastic opportunity this is at Carolina to get an education like this, to play in the SEC and to play at a high level or a great football program. It's on the way up. So certainly that will always be, not just this year, but will always be a critical aspect of this program is being able to get guys in as walk-ons, develop them as players and student athletes, and getting them out there on the field. But the fact that we're able to add some guys to this program that turn down opportunities, financial opportunities at other schools to walk on here, we couldn't be more excited about those guys.
Just a reminder that we can't talk about a lot of those guys at this point. Greg Hadley.
Hey, Shane, you talk about making this class maybe deliberately small, or is that being part of the plan? What went into your thought process of, prioritizing maybe the transfer portal, maybe then instead of high schoolers?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was just timing. I mean, I got here in December. We kept every single player that was committed when I got here in December stayed committed and signed with us, which I think is a great testament to those guys that they, that none of them committed to me or were committed to me. Obviously, when I got here, they were committed to a previous staff. They believe in this university and what this program's about and stayed committed and signed, which hats off to them. I'll always be appreciative and have so much respect for those guys doing that when a lot of them had opportunities to go elsewhere. But at that point, I got hired. Signing day was shortly thereafter. I could have gone out in December and just signed 10 more high school players for the heck of it, just to have a nice signing class of 20 signees. It's ranked a little higher and things like that, but I didn't want to do that. For me, it was important to keep those guys committed, take a deep breath, let's get our coaches in here, figure out what exactly fits the systems that we're putting in place from an offense, defense, special teams standpoint, and then go recruit to that. And it just happened to be the transfers were the priority this year because, let's face it, a lot of those high school prospects that were out there, they signed in December. So there were certainly some guys that we had conversations with that when I got the job, that we would have loved to have had back in December. When I say some, I mean less than 5 or so that we, extended offers to that went elsewhere. But at that point, it was take a deep breath. Let's figure out where we are, what we need. If guys had not signed somewhere, guys like Colby Fields, then let's go full speed ahead on them, which is what we did. But frankly, it just worked out that way that the majority of guys that were still out there were guys that were in the transfer market and were in the transfer portal. So we immediately, anytime guys we just dove into them and credit to, so many people in this building that had a hand in this, that handle our recruitment. I mean, we've got a fantastic support staff of people that were already here when I got hired, that we've been able to add since I got hired. And hats off to so many of those guys, because they were the ones doing a lot of the legwork and groundwork on guys as they entered the transfer portal, making us as coaches aware and getting their video in front of us, so we were able to go forward and attack and develop relationships with those guys.
Colin Taylor?
Yeah, Shane, you mentioned some of the scholarship and roster flexibility you have. I'm curious, now that you enter after signing day, how do you plan to attack that? Are there positions of need you'd still like to fill, or is it just trying to find the best guy available?
No, I mean, I think you're always trying to improve your roster, and a lot of that I think will depend on spring practice, and you hope as a program you don't have any more attrition and you keep everybody in place. But the fact of the matter is, with college football now, that may not be the case, and so we'll take situations as they arise. But I think really the main thing for us right now is just develop this football team that we have. And then after spring practice, if we say, you know what, we've got to add some more depth at that position, more competition at that position, then we'll certainly attack that. If just a fantastic football player, regardless of position, has an interest in coming to South Carolina, then we've got the flexibility to pursue that as well. But having said that, I could not be more excited about the players in this program right now and the way that they're working. I mean, we've got a really good group of young men that are hungry. Their work ethic is fantastic. I absolutely love coming in this building every single day and being around them and spending time with them, and cannot wait for there's a lot of work that has to get done between now and spring practice, but I'm so excited for the start of spring practice, but even more excited for just what this environment's like in this facility right now, and how much I enjoy coming to this building each and every day and being around our players, and love the group that we have and the way that they're working right now as well. And if this is the 2021 South Carolina football team and it does not change at all and we don't add anybody else to it, fantastic. Let's roll, and I can't wait to play ball with them.
And along those lines, we just got the paperwork in on the last player we were waiting on today, so everything's good.
Hollywood. All right.
Mike Uva with the next question.
Jan, I think naturally, fans, whether it's today's signing day period or you go back to December, they think about the 5 stars, the 4 stars, and 3 stars. But for you in particular, it seems like you've focused a lot on the preferred walk-ons, especially the guys here at home. When you think of a guy like Nathan Harris-Waynick and some of these other guys that you have took on from South Carolina, outside of fit and talent, what are some of the other things as a head coach you're looking for in a preferred walk-on? And, how did some of these guys that you did bring to South Carolina, how did that kind of fit the bill?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's guys that want to be at Carolina for all the right reasons. The education you get here, the football program, and guys that are hungry to be here. So you're certainly looking for that. I mean, you've got to have a skill set where you can legitimately play football at the Division I level. At the SEC level, and I feel like these guys that we've got joining our program certainly I know they certainly can, and then beyond that, it's just the character and just the want to, and honestly, Mike, I mean, I saw a lot of that with my dad at Virginia Tech. Just guys, Cam Chancellor is an example. I mean, Cam didn't walk on, but Cam was a guy I think that Virginia Tech had to beat James Madison for, I think, in recruiting, but he was a guy that was hungry and got in there with an amazing work ethic and turned himself into a player of the year and all-pro and all that stuff that Cam was with the Seahawks, just to use that example. But I think there's so many examples here of guys that get in here. We're going to develop them. And I think in this state, there's a lot of players like that maybe fall through the cracks, that are overlooked in the recruiting process for different reasons, where you're able to get them in here, develop them, and then turn them into great players. And it's what I want this program to be about, the team, us being unselfish. And I was telling some people last week, I mean, one of my favorite graphics or things in our indoor is a picture up on the wall over there in our indoor. And it's when we beat Alabama back in 2010. They're number 1 in the country, and I apologize if I already told you guys this story. I'm going to tell it again if you heard it. But there's a picture of Trent Richardson, the Alabama running back, on the ground after we've tackled him, and then standing over top of him is Stephon Gilmore, Antonio Allen, two great defensive players that had NFL, that one still having an NFL career, and Antonio played in the NFL and had a great career as well. But then Blake Baxley, who some of you may not know Blake Baxley, but if you follow Carolina football, was a heck of a walk-on for us, covered kickoffs. And I'm looking at that, I'm like, when was Blake on the field with Antonio and Stephon? And it hit me, that's a kickoff. And we scored. The crowd in Williams-Brice Stadium is going berserk. And we kick off, and I can still see it in my head. We're kicking towards the cockabooses, and Trent Richardson tries to bounce that ball back over to our sideline, and we tackle him inside the 20. And there's Blake Baxley, former walk-on, Stephon Gilmore, Antonio Allen, celebrating along with the other guys on that kickoff team, guys like DJ Swearinger that were pretty good as well. But then I love that image because it's everything that I want this program to be about the unselfishness and the team. And I couldn't tell you, and this is an honest answer, and I'm sorry to keep rambling, but I'm trying to learn the roster right now. Scholarship, walk-on, I don't know. I mean, I got a pretty good idea that Luke Doty's on scholarship. I mean, I'm not that dumb, but there's so many guys that I don't know how they got here and really don't care. I mean, everybody in this program is going to be treated the same, and that walk-on program for us is going to be a fantastic resource for us going forward.
Hill.
Excuse me. You mentioned adding the linebackers and Tavares Scott and Colby. I was wondering if you could share a couple thoughts on each of those two guys.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad you asked. I mean, that's one that, both those guys. So back in December when I talked about us sitting down and kind of figuring out what we need to attack and what we need to address from a personnel standpoint on defense, it was linebackers / edge, outside backer type guys. And we knew we didn't have a ton of scholarships, so we had to be real selective and exact about who exactly we were going to pursue. And from day one, it was Colby and Bam. And those were the guys that were at the top of Coach White's list and our defensive staff's list. And that's what I'm excited about is we said these are the two guys. We pursued them. We offered both those guys back in December. Colby was committed to another school at the time and then announced on Twitter that, he had been offered by South Carolina. And frankly, you worry about a kid all the way out in Louisiana and then Bam all the way halfway across the country, being able to get those guys to Carolina when you have a lot of suitors coming after them. So really impressed that they were able to, that we identified them early. We went after them early. They stayed with us and ended up signing with us and had a lot of competition for those guys. I mean, I was on the phone with Bam, and all of our coaches were, up until last night, because you got a lot of people that are coming at them from a lot of different directions that didn't like hearing that they weren't coming to their school and were coming to South Carolina instead. But we've got to have guys at the linebacker position that are big and have the physical traits that we're after, but have a mentality to them as well. And these guys have that. They're hard workers. They're all business. Every time I talk to them, they're either working out, getting ready to go work out, or just finished working out all the time. And they're appreciative of this opportunity. And both of them have really, really big upsides, and excited to see what they're going to be able to do in Coach White's defense. And once they get in the weight room with Coach Day and here in nutrition with Kristen, and as we continue to develop those guys.
John Del Bianco.
Could you touch on the other signees too? TJ Sanders, first off.
Yeah, TJ's one. It's always going to be important for us to keep the best players in South Carolina at home, and TJ's one of those guys that was without a doubt is one of the very best players in South Carolina. So we're fortunate that he headed our way. Had a great senior season playing in the state championship over there at Marion. I love the fact that at 6'4", 285 pounds, my man averages a double-double on the basketball court, which is pretty impressive. Kind of shows his athleticism. But somebody that I know when I got here was committed to us and immediately watched his video. And when you've got a guy with that kind of athleticism that can play on the interior of your defensive line, and he's an in-state player, and he's a great young man that comes from a winning program, you'll take those guys all day long.
You're on mute, John.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
And Ladarian Craig, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so obviously hot off the presses on that one. Great length, goes by Hollywood. Really awesome personality. You guys are going to enjoy getting to know him as well. Another one that, was a fight to the finish with some teams that came in late on him as well. And we were certainly one of them. We haven't been on him in forever. We just got in on him recently, but here in the last 24, 48 hours, he's had a lot of suitors come attack him. But a guy that obviously coming from Alabama, being able to get into that state more and more from recruiting will be great for us. And size. In this league, it's all about matchups. I mean, we've got a 6'7", 6'8" receiver that just joined the roster. So at the defensive back position, you better be able to match up and have size and physicality at the defensive back position. And Hollywood brings that to the table. 6'2", 175 pounds, best footballs in front of him, magnetic personality, and will be a really, be able to help us from a defensive standpoint. And then all these guys from a special team standpoint as well. As you increase your depth, that only makes your special teams better and better, and he'll certainly have a big role in that also.
Phil Kornbluth?
There you go. Yeah. Hey, Shane.
Hey, Phil.
Let's see. What was going to ask you? Moving forward, will it be your plan to fill your roster more with high school kids, or do you still want to, as you build future recruiting classes, continue to hit the transfer portal and junior colleges? Number one. Number two, I'm just seeing a tweet by our own Wes Mitchell that you've hired Montario Hardesty as running backs coach. Can you comment on that?
We've had great interest in that running back position. When I walked in here, we had a SEC coaching battle brewing in regards to our running back position, and optimistic about the direction that's going. So we'll see. Been some fantastic people. I've seen different reports out there about what we've supposedly been doing with our running back position, but the first time I offered a job to anyone was this morning, not yesterday or the day before or whatever other different reports are out there about what we're doing. So we'll see what happens, but excited about the interest in that running back position. And it's important for me to get a guy in here at that running back position. There's some great running back coaches, but I feel for our guys because our running backs are about to have their third running back coach in less than a year, if I'm not mistaken, and that's hard. You come to college thinking you're going to have the same position coach for hopefully your entire career, and they're about to have their third in a year. So I feel for those guys. I told them the night that Coach Kitchings left that we're going to get somebody in here that wants to be here and will be here, and we'll see what happens on that. And then going forward, we always want to start with the high school ranks. I mean, you don't know who's going to be in the transfer portal. It's not realistic to sit there and say, okay, we got 20 scholarships for the 2022 class. We're going to wait and see who's in the portal come December. I mean, if we could sign our entire class from the high school ranks and then supplement that with junior college players and then potential transfers as well, sure. I mean, we're always going to do what we have to do to add to our roster and improve it and make it better. But always we're going to start with the high school ranks and getting a guy in here that'll be here for 4 years and go from there.
Colin Taylor?
Yeah, Shane, I guess 2 questions for you. First of all, how excited are you to get the NCAA football games back? Do you have an opinion on that?
Very. That was pretty cool. Props to Fink and his crew, too, for that tweet yesterday with me on the cover. That was pretty awesome as well, or anybody else that was responsible for that. My son thinks it's cool. He's at the age where he's getting into Madden, and he saw that his dad was on a quote-unquote video game cover. He was pretty excited. No, but that's awesome. I can remember playing it growing up. The 4-bedroom apartment that I lived in college with 3 football players, that was kind of the epicenter of what we had going on in our apartment each and every day. Tommy Frazier in Nebraska. I was a big Donovan McNabb and Syracuse guy playing that game back in the day. So to have it coming back is pretty cool, and looking forward to seeing some Gamecocks on there as well and leading the charge on that.
And I guess with Taylor Edwards now and Drew Hickson, how excited are you to get them into the program? What's been the response in the recruiting trail with them finally being able to be in the fold? Yeah, really good. I mean, just for a lot of different reasons. I mean, Taylor's a guy that I've known for a while. I guess we have a mutual friend and met him at a wedding in Tuscaloosa like 10 years ago or so.
that he was attending as a guest, and have just kept in touch with him and love his background, the fact that he's been at Alabama, he's been at, which is some familiarity with the system I was around at Georgia, putting together great recruiting classes at Maryland, being at UAB, Jacksonville State. He's kind of seen every end of the spectrum. And then Drew and I were together at Georgia. Thought he did a fantastic job when we were on the staff together at Georgia, my first 2 years in Athens. And somebody that's broadened his network, going to Virginia, then going to Kansas, and then coming back here. He's from Georgia, he and his wife both. So to have them back in this part of the country, it's awesome to have those guys in the building. Just from a organization structure standpoint, it's tough when you don't have that role. Every coach is recruiting, but just somebody that can kind of like keep it all together and manage everything. To be able to do that is fantastic, and so thankful that our administration has allowed me the resources to put together that recruiting staff like think it needs to be done. And those guys, along with George Wynn and Jessica Jackson and Justin King and Zach and their staff and all of our amazing student assistants that I talked about before, really fired up about the group that we have here and this entire organization, and we'll continue to make it better each and every day.
Helmer Granahan.
Now that you can totally switch gears to 2022 and I guess 23 as well a little bit, how challenging is it going to be to account for all the different variables that are in play now with the portal and guys getting the extra year and all that stuff as you try to project ahead with those cycles?
No, it's a big challenge. I mean, you're trying to make decisions, but then you're thinking, and there's just so many unknowns. I mean, when it comes to your current roster and extra years that are available and who may want to use it, who may not want to use it. You may not know those things or won't know those things until later down the road. But certainly it's something that you always have your projected roster numbers in mind when it goes into, okay, this is the class of 2022. We plan to sign this number of quarterbacks, this number of running backs, this number of linebackers, defensive backs. And you have that certainly going into the 2022 class. For sure, but then you also realize that you better have some flexibility on that, because that can certainly change, and as your roster changes, and it'll be constantly evolving. So it's different. We're all going through it. I mean, it's something that at Oklahoma we spent a lot of time talking about as a staff with Lincoln, back during the season, about everything going forward. And as an assistant coach, you're like, all right, yeah, whatever. Now you're the head coach and you're making those decisions, and you are in charge of that roster. It's a little bit more daunting, but again, we just kind of initially it was, what do we have to do to make the 2021 team the very best it possibly can be, and that's still our priority right now. But then we also know going forward that there's got to be some flexibility, and that it will be something that hasn't been done before, not just us, but everyone throughout college football as we try and put this thing together.
Go back to Phil Kornblut.
Yeah, one more quick little follow-up, Shane. So it looks like Alabama has signed the greatest class in the history of college football, according to the websites. And Rivals has got 10 SEC teams in the top 25. So from where you sit at South Carolina in your first year, and you think about trying to move up with those folks, I mean, how daunting a task is it starting it from scratch like you guys are having to do when you're dealing with people like that?
Well, I mean, that's the SEC, and there's a reason that so many young men from Washington, D.C., Virginia that are on our roster, North Carolina that are on our roster, so many guys from so many different states, they want to play football at the highest level, and that's the Southeastern Conference, and so many people want to come play in the SEC, and part of that is you want to play elite competition. And it was that way when I was here before, probably even more so now, because a lot of these programs have elevated their status since I was here as an assistant coach before. But let's go. I mean, it is what it is. You go have a great recruiting class in the SEC, you're probably going to be top 10 in the country. I was looking at it today. I think four of the top 10 recruiting classes I saw are guys that are on our schedule like every single year. That's great. You want to play against the best. One of the core values of this program is just competition and competing in everything that we do. And we get a chance to go compete against the very best each and every week. And everything that we're doing as a program is to move this program forward. We're right up there talking about, South Carolina and perennial top 10 recruiting classes, and how these other teams in the league are going to have to, how they feel about having to face us each and every season. So it's nothing that I would consider daunting. Is it a challenge? Yeah, absolutely. But we're attacking and working every day to go attack that challenge.
Jen Del Bianco.
You were able to finalize Connor Shaw's role with the program. Can you explain a little bit what he'll be getting into? I know it said he has some expanded responsibilities, and how big was it for him to be able to help in the recruiting in any way he could?
Yeah, any way that Connor can help is a invaluable tool for us. And I think I've told you guys before, the day that I got here back in December, I sat down with Connor, one of the very first guys I met with him in my office, and told him that I'm not letting you go anywhere, and I want you in this building. I want you here with me, and we need to sit down and figure out exactly, where you are with things and what your goals are and what you want to get done, and I want to help you get to that. And that's what we've done. I mean, I think Connor's brilliant. He's got a brilliant football mind from playing at South Carolina and playing in the NFL. I think he's got a brilliant mind when it comes to recruiting, relating to the people, his ideas on just team development and character development. Connor is going to be doing a little bit of everything, and obviously within NCAA rules. But he's a guy that I rely on a lot, somebody that I bounce ideas off of, and I want his opinion on things. And because he's seen it, like I talked about, as a player, as a pro, back in this building in the last year in a support staff role. So really feel it's fantastic that he's here with me, and he's a guy whose role will continue to grow, and he's a guy that's going to have a lot of input on the day-to-day operations of this building, that's for sure.
I don't see any other hands, so last call. Good? All right.
Thanks, Shane.
Thank you.
All
all.
right. Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great week.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep.
Thanks, Steve.
Good luck to our guys in Gainesville tonight.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I'm Nick Barrett from Goldsboro, North Carolina, and I play defensive tackle.
Marion Brown from Tampa, Florida. I play wide receiver.
I'm Jordan Davis from Atlanta, Georgia. I play offensive tackle.
Daryl Dubois-Williams from Smyrna, Delaware. I play linebacker.
EJ Jenkins from Fredericksburg, Virginia. I play wide receiver.
My name is Jason Brown. I'm from Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I play quarterback.
I'm just Omega Blake, Rockhead, South Carolina, South Point High School, wide receiver.
Sam Reynolds, Alabaster, Alabama, slot receiver.
It's your boy Isaiah Norris. I play corner. I'm from Anderson, South Carolina.
My name is Colton Gauthier. I'm from Gwinnett County, Georgia, and I play quarterback.
What's good, Gamecock Nation? TJ Sanders checking in. I'm excited. Hope y'all ready for me.
Good morning, Gamecock Nation. It's Kobe Fells. I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana.
I've been here for about 3 weeks, and they've just brought me in like I've always been here.
I come from a big high school. Like, we're fairly well known, and there's a lot of big kids, but you get here and you see like 6'8" is normal. Like, what?
So we used to play this game called Hot Ball. When I was like 5, I used to play with my brother and his friends, right? So you just throw the ball in the air. Whoever grab it, you got to tackle. It's like one man. It's like one man versus everybody else.
I think I was 4 years old when I put the pads on for the first time, and ever since then, I've loved the game.
My dad got me into football, actually. I started playing when I was 5, and he coached me. And I played quarterback for him.
I had like the most touchdowns like ever in like a season. In Little League, I got like MVP of the year and stuff like that.
I started off playing soccer and basketball, and I didn't like contact for real. I was just fast. My dad was like, let's just try it.
And then it was just fun tackling everybody. And then my older brother, he was like, him and my dad, they were telling me to try football. And then I just went out there and dominated.
Honestly, I really didn't want to tackle people on defense, and I don't want to run routes either, so I have a pretty good arm, I think, and so I was like, yeah, I'll just play quarterback. I don't gotta run as much.
And I ended up just taking the pass off slowly, and I just got comfortable playing, and it was fun. Like, it was a love of the game.
Before I was a karate kid, I was like doing judo and all the other stuff. And like I realized that I like running into people more than actually trying to throw them. So my mom was like, let's try to put them in some pads and stuff like that.
If I look mean, I'm not mean. Because I don't look like a lot of people, they don't approach me because my face, I'm not mean mugging. I'm really a nice person. So
my favorite food is crab legs. Oh, seafood. Oh my gosh. If I could live off crab legs if I had to.
My favorite food is cream of wheat. I get called old for it, but it's real good.
You know what I mean? I know it's Mickey D's, but it's all good.
The little, they be having like Publix, some little crunchy rolls. Yeah, with the orange sauce on it.
So I love playing guitar. I play a lot of guitar. That was actually probably something that I picked up first before I ever picked up any type of ball was a guitar.
PS5, Gamecock poster, all you really need.
I'm in love with shoes.
I know I like to chill. I mean, I like to bowl.
I play a lot of Xbox with a bunch of teammates all the time.
You probably wouldn't believe it, but work out. That's all I like to do. Like you could ask Marshawn, he'd just be like, bro, chill, like chill.
I think I have 142 pair. But I think my most expensive pair, Jordan Carmine 6s.
If I had a good day, I'll go play, guitar. If I have a bad day, I'll go play rock. Like it's just a release for me. It's always been like that.
I be playing Madden, 2K, GTA, Call of Duty, stuff like that.
I'm trying to get into golf. It's real frustrating. It's frustrating right now. The first one, I dug a hole right in the dirt. The second one, I whiffed the whole ball. Taking practice swings.
One thing I really like doing in my free time, if I'm not doing that, is watching wildlife documentaries, such as like Blue Planet and stuff like that. That stuff's so fascinating to me.
This is my baby right here. I've been having her for like a year now.
Columbia, they all about their football, man.
Just the white towels and the fireworks, and I mean that stadium jam-packed and it being loud.
Definitely a bigger fan base for sure. Like I've been around here and like you Debo, you's a guy they just brought in? I'm like, yeah, how y'all know? Like, I just got here.
I've watched Debo Samuel, Ace Sanders. I watched a few of those guys, when I was younger. Be a Gamecock, and the things that they've done, was like crazy. Some of the things that I want to do.
It was like a little soft hit. I'm not gonna be too hyped, but if I drag him like he's like a rag doll or whatever, that's different.
I'm very blessed to be a part of something very special. I look forward to seeing y'all soon.
Very excited, man. This is home for me. Can't wait to be a part of the new era, man. Let's go.
It's already a family, like especially with the new coaching staff, they really allowing us to bond because, some of us are new, so we just coming in trying to work our way, but they've allowed us to bond and it's just been great.
It's a new era, new coaching staff, so, we're all just trying to get to know each other. Just to get to that end goal, win some games and have fun.
When I committed to South Carolina, it was actually the day before signing day, and Coach Beamer called, and said that he had a scholarship, to the University of South Carolina, and it was a blessing, and that's something that was always my dream to come here.
So I didn't have an official signing day because I enrolled early. We didn't have an early signing period back in 2009, 2010. But I absolutely remember how excited I was when I committed. It was at the spring game going into the 2009 football season for the Gamecocks. I was at a spring game, met with the coaching staff before the spring game and committed with my family. And it was pretty simple to me, man. I knew I wanted to play in the SEC. I saw how passionate the fan base was here. I saw how committed this state is to Gamecock football. And I, along with many other people, wanted to come to South Carolina to do things for the very first time.
And I committed to South Carolina. I took only one other visit, and that was to Tennessee. That was number 2 on my list, and had other schools offer me, but I come from a little small country town, and we're taught once you commit to something, you're committed to it, and I never wavered. So the day I signed my national letter of intent day was, we was in the gymnasium at the Westside High School, and my family came. People was all in there and had the scoreboard where I stood in the middle of it, and I had my hat on. I had a t-shirt over my tie and my button up, and it was a big Gamecock t-shirt, and I wanted everybody to know where I was going. I wasn't shy away from what I was going to do.
My signing day was pretty epic. I had one hat lined up, and it was the only hat, and it was the University of South Carolina. That was it.
It came down to, here in Florida, obviously me being a Florida guy, and the thing that stuck out to me most was this loyalty, and consistency. When I came here as opposed to going to there, everybody knew my name. Everybody spoke to me. The decision to come here was pretty much based off of family atmosphere. And so that was big for me. Just coming to a place like Carolina, that it's a family atmosphere. Everybody cares about who you are as a person.
Make the reverse. Pressure is on. Got to make it wide open. This is Boyd. Ryan Boyd.
My signing day was back in 1998. It wasn't as big as it is now. We were in the library. It's such a long time ago, can't remember. But I committed early. Skip Holtz came to the house, and I was ready to be a Gamecock. Just you feel it. You feel the energy. You feel the love, and you feel things are starting to build here, and just being a part of something special. You're going to be something. You can be a leader. You can be someone that changes the whole culture here. You can be a guy that's known forever for doing one play, for doing one thing right, or being a superstar, or whatever. You can be known here forever because that's how the Gamecock way. It's the way they know you. They will always know you, and they will always love you here at South Carolina.
Justin, a lot of people know, I was like one of the first people to come in early. My signing day experience was actually my mom doing my signing day at my high school for me, but I was already here in school, already being developed. Signing day, man, is gonna be one of the best days of your life, man. You're gonna make a decision. I know you probably heard this, it's not gonna last 3 to 5 years, it's gonna last 40 years.
And very similar to back in 2009 where we could see the direction and growth of the program, that's the sort of vibe that I get now and see how hungry our players are and where the potential for the near future for South Carolina.
Set number! Let me hear your set number!
Man's heart and his heart's purpose is deep, deep water. We're all searching for what is our meaning, what is our purpose, but it takes an insightful man to draw that out of him. That's how we view ourselves as coaches. We are here to draw out your purpose out of the deep well that is your heart. And we're gonna do that by training in a way that honors the way human beings are designed, from a physiological, social, and psychological standpoint. You're going to be trained in a way that makes you fire on all cylinders. We're gonna move weight fast. We're gonna move really heavy weight. We're gonna move it horizontally. We're gonna get on the floor. We're gonna move our own body. All of those different ways that we can, because look at the game. That's what's taking place. If it's important to training, if it's important to your football program, you better track it. So you're gonna know where you stand, and we're gonna show you how to get improvement in every single phase of your life. We recover faster, we train harder, we train longer, and then we keep that process over and over and over. At the end of the day, what we're training for is maximal sustainable output. How powerful can you be, and how long can you be that powerful? We're going to find every single thing there is to do to get these guys prepared to go play and win football games.
New week, same grind, y'all boys, keep going, man.
And draw out this version of you that you didn't even know was in there.
What's up, guys? Welcome to your virtual tour of the Long Family Football Ops Building. We're gonna give you the real tour. We've got players, we've got coaches, we've got, most importantly, food, and a lot more to show you guys. Let's roll. Right at the entrance is our nutrition hub, where Kristen Coggin has all of our nutritional needs set up. All right, so Kristen has it all foolproof. You come in, you write your name, and then you just fill out what you want. Maybe some chicken thighs, some steak. We even got some baked ziti. From here, you take your sheet over and you head to our buffet. Once you drop your sheet, our great nutrition stacks all the food. So now that you're fueled up, the locker room is literally steps away from the nutrition hub. So, welcome to the locker room. One of the most unique things about this building is not only our locker room, but our barber shop. We typically have a barber come in during the season. You can sit down, get your hair washed, get a cut, all while you're in the building. All of our lockers are custom made and state-of-the-art. Not only do they have cup holders and super cool storage, they also have charging ports and locks for when you go out to practice, your stuff is secure. Speaking of going to practice, it's only a short walk away. Let's go. So you were just at your locker and now you're literally on the practice field. It's pretty convenient if you ask me. So after you've just finished from practice and you kind of just want some time to chill, one of my favorite things about this entire building, it's the Players Lounge. You come through these doors and be amazed. We have pool tables, we have air hockey, we have a movie theater and an arcade. If you think you can sing or rap, we even have a music studio that was provided by the Grammy Award winning Darius Rucker. Now, if you think you can beat me on Pop-A-Shot, I dare you to try. But welcome to your very own arcade. All right, as soon as you got your game on, you can head on into our very own 15-seater movie theater. Oh. This is the life. So after the boys come through the player entrance, they check in with Kristen, they head to the locker room, and then most importantly, they come to the training room to make sure they're ready to go for the day. Now, we have all the fancy stuff in the world, but what makes this place special is definitely the people we have around. So everything in this entire room is dedicated to making you better. It's all rehabilitation, not to get bigger, faster, stronger. We'll show you that in the weight room later on. We have everything that you can imagine, from chiropractors, massage therapists, salt-soaked tanks, anything and everything we have. We even have hot and cold tanks and a pool with a treadmill underneath. I will say, it might look like a jacuzzi, but it's not. Players have easy access from the locker room right into the training room where they get taped before practice. Woo! Let's go, cut, yes! Oh, even with the boom, boogie! You're doing great! You're doing so great! So welcome to the weight room. As you can see, we have everything you need to get bigger, faster, stronger, more agile, you name it, Coach Day and his staff can take care of it. Right from the weight room, we can head out to our practice fields and our indoor facility. We have 2 full-length practice fields, one's for offense, one's for defense. We also have an outdoor weight room in the back, and all of this is connected right to our indoor facility where we have 110 yards of turf. So, especially on rainy days like this, we always utilize the indoor. Not only do we use this for workouts, we use it for practice, stretch and strides, sometimes team meetings, and even yoga. My favorite thing about this entire building is how connected it is. From the locker room, training room, weight room, to practice facilities, everything is right here connected so our players don't ever have to go far to get what they need. So now we're gonna head upstairs to our cardio deck. As you can imagine, there's no players in here right now and the strength staff has taken control of the sound. All right, so we've hit the cardio deck. Is it fun? No. Is it necessary? Yes. All right, we're heading to the big man's office. How's it going? Great. And one of the most important people in this office, Mr. George Wheezy Wynn. He fixes all the problems. Yes, oh, look at this. And like we said, this whole building is ease of access and you can run right into your head coach at any point in time.
Exactly. And what she just said about Wheezy, he does fix all the problems.
All right, let's head down to the assistant coach's offices. Like I said, this entire building is focused around you guys. So all the facilities you need are here, but also all the people you need. Here are all of our assistant coaches' offices, ready for you to walk upstairs and talk anytime. And 1, 2, 3. 3 steps from the assistant coaches' offices are your position meeting rooms. What makes everything here unique is how close-knit we try to make our Gamecock family. So whether you're on offense or defense, your meeting rooms are all close, not only to you, but also the assistant coaches, so you feel super comfortable coming up whenever you want. Ball security. Now, welcome to the defensive team room. Mimicked after our black helmets on the ceiling, this room is designed to give our defensive players all the tools they need necessary to take the field on Saturdays. As you can see, we have a full staff here willing and ready to help you whenever needed. We have our creative media staff here doing player interviews with all the new guys, so that way our fans can get to know them. So that way when you step on campus, we'll do nothing but help build your brand. But when they're not doing player interviews, this room is just used as our team room. And when we finish up our team meetings, we like to break some bread together. So here we have a full dining hall that we love to have team dinners at. All right, and as you can see, we are right back to where we started. So the whole point of this is to say that yes, schools have great facilities, but ours are built around you. Hey cuties. As you guys can see, this building was made with one thing in mind, and that's ease of access to you. You've got to come see it for yourself. So we've seen everything we have to offer. Remember, the one thing we're missing is you.